This video is brought to you by my wonderful patrons. I'd like to give a huge double secret special thank you to Jupiter, Ocean Man, and a literal seagull for becoming my latest patrons, though I do want to know how a seagull got a bank account and learned to use a computer. Question for another time, I guess. Thank you guys so much. I should probably be working on my Final Fantasy X video right now, but I found another reason to procrastinate, and in this case, that is the final fight scene in the movie Prey. But don't think about it as procrastinating. Think about it as just getting an extra video early. If you haven't seen the movie yet, it is absolutely fantastic, and that's coming from a person who never really liked the original films. I know. Although, that one with Adrian Brody was pretty good too. That was Adrian Brody, right? Only I had cared enough to actually look it up after the writing or in the filming of the script. Whatever. So go watch Prey first, because I'm about to talk about the final fight in that movie, and to do so, I'm going to have to spoil all the events leading up to it. Here's a quick recap so we're all on the same page. Prey is set in the American West in the 1790s during the period of American expansionism. The movie follows the Comanche warrior/healer Naru. We, the audience, immediately see how badass Naru is. She is not only incredible with her tomahawks and agile as any ninja, but she's also a tribe healer who uses plant-based concoctions to save the lives of multiple injured men. Despite all that though, she is not a Mary Sue. Her big character flaw is not being able to put the pieces together when the moment is at hand. Basically, she chokes under pressure, and so none of the other Comanches see her skill like we do. Thus, her character arc is learning to deal with that pressure and handle herself while under difficult situations. That leads us to the final fight scene. It's fantastic in a lot of different ways. The cinematography is on point. While much of the film, especially towards the end, is set in darkness at a point in history when there are no artificial lights, the production team were able to keep the scenes well lit in a way that feels natural. Their choices simultaneously make the action clear while still maintaining the immersion, as our minds naturally attribute the light to the full moon, even if in actuality the moon wouldn't provide that much illumination. The fight choreography and acting are fantastic as well. There are some really awesome and altogether creative moves that a few of the Comanche warriors perform, really throughout the movie, that elevate those scenes into something special. Also, not a lot is said in the discourse about physical acting capability, but some of the reactions we see are really awesome both in and out of fights. Fundamentally though, I think there is one main reason why this fight sings, so to speak. It involves the writing tool of setup and payoff. I say that as if nobody has ever heard of it before. Do I come off as pretentious in these videos? Let me know in the comments. I'm not trying to be, it's just how I write. I promise. Anyways, the concept itself is a basic one. Events are more satisfying in general if the writer gives us a hint of them beforehand, the setup, before they become important later in the film, the payoff. But despite its simplicity, the technique is extremely effective in getting the audience to care. It's the same reason we like callback jokes in shows like The Office and Parks and Rec.
She's here.
Who's here?
My ex-wife, Tammy, too. I can smell the sulfur coming off her cloven hooves.
The audience gets to feel like they are in the know about something special, almost like they are an observer in the actual film world itself. It builds anticipation. And when the payoff finally comes, we can say, "Aha! I knew that awesome thing would happen, because I saw how cool it was earlier." Also, despite its simplicity, a lot of bad films tend to screw it up. The first example that comes to mind is 2016's Suicide Squad. But since I am straight up stealing this example from Dan Olson over at Folding Ideas, I'll just let him tell it.
Captain Boomerang has this pink unicorn. It's first introduced as a gag during his title card where it flashes fetish, pink unicorns. Leaving aside the sexual implications, during the gearing up segment he pulls a pink unicorn stuffed animal out of his duffel bag and covertly tucks it inside his jacket. So that right there is the setup. Then, in the tower brawl, Captain Boomerang is wrestling with a tar monster who stabs him right in the heart, and for a second, you go, "Oh no," but, being a savvy and attentive viewer, you immediately go, "Ah wait, the unicorn," and you pat yourself on the back as Boomerang pulls out the knife, stuck in a wad of money.
Seriously, if you aren't subscribed to his channel and you enjoy my critique content, go do so because he has some awesome videos. Prey, however, does not screw it up. In fact, the entire plot serves the dual purpose of seeing Naru grow through overcoming adversity, but also as a setup, as she uses all that adversity to her advantage in the final fight. So let's take stock of the things that Naru uses against the Predator, and what the Predator uses against her in that final fight. First, she takes the yellow flower medicine. Again, I couldn't be fucked to look up the name beforehand. Orange Tutsia, to fool the Predator's vision and to steal his mask. Then she jumps on him with her roped tomahawks. Then she uses a trap, though different from the kind we have seen previously. Then she gets the Predator to accidentally slice off his own arm using his spear and shield. Then he uses the shield against her. Then Sari the dog retrieves her roped tomahawks. Then she uses that rope again to pull him into the quicksand, and finally, she uses his own helmet targeting system against him. But that's a lot, so let's start at the beginning. We see the orange Tutsia flower often throughout the movie. Its usefulness is set up, though it's a bit subtle. At first, when she gives it to injured warriors, it seems to give them a seizure, and they're convulsing. But in actuality, they're really just shivering because their body temperature has been lowered. She discovers this effect when she gives the flower to a wounded trapper, and immediately after uses it to escape the Predator's vision and shoot him in the back of the head, knocking off his mask in the process. Next, the roped tomahawks. Now, aside from these things being fucking awesome, and her awesome with them, they serve an actual purpose. Naru was out hunting rabbits while tracking the Predator, and kept having to run and pick up her tomahawks when she missed, thus the ropes, which allow for easy retrieval. Performing awesome moves is just a plus. We see the roped tomahawks first set up in the scene when she crafts them, also showing her creativity and resourcefulness. In the last fight, though, they are the reason she's able to get a couple free hits on the Predator. But more importantly, the quicksand. About midway through the movie, there is a butt-clenching scene where Naru falls into a pit, nearly getting swallowed up by quicksand. Except, I'll wait. The roped tomahawks come to the rescue again, as she is able to use them to hook onto a tree and pull herself out. Then later, in the final fight, we realize where she drew the Predator, that she took him to the spot of the quicksand and combined that and the rope to her advantage. Her sharpened stick trap is a bit of a stretch, I'll admit, but the use of traps in general was set up in the movie as both her and her best dog Sari get snared by them during the movie. But they are gone just as briefly as they appear, so let's just move on and pretend I made a good argument here. Unlike the sticks though, both the Predator's shield and spear are set up during the fight with the trappers, while Naru and her brother are tied to a tree as bait. He uses the shield not only to shield against the bullets, but also to slice off a guy's head. So it's supremely satisfying to see him get tricked into using it against his own arm when Naru attacks him with his own spear. Then, just after this, the Predator tries to use the shield to make Naru about a head shorter. But she again demonstrates her ingenuity by putting a big stone in between them. Then she gets out by breaking off one of his fangs and stabbing him with it. Fucking metal. Sari the dog is set up throughout the entire movie. Her effectiveness is demonstrated all the time, when hunting the deer, escaping the bear, and at other points. And even though I was constantly worried something bad would happen to this beautiful girl, she was ultimately the best girl, and retrieved the tomahawks for Naru's final move. After using the tomahawks to land the Predator in the quicksand, all is silent for a second. But then, oh wait. He stands up with no trouble, and our protagonist is seemingly cornered. But oh wait again. Before the fight, we saw her place the targeting mask in a nearby rock formation. The mask was set up when the Predator was first hunting the Comanche warriors. It houses the classic targeting lasers that we see in all the Predator films. And wherever the lasers are pointed, the Predator's bullets will follow, even making wide sweeping arcs to hit only their target. And setting aside the sheer luck that Naru had in getting the Predator in the exact spot she needed, this functionality was paid off when she used it against him to put an end to the fight. All of these things make us inch closer to the edges of our seats. It's this rapid-fire release of tension built by the foreshadowing of all these elements. And beneath all of that is the satisfaction of her finally getting to the end of her character arc. Finally putting all the pieces together, being solid under the pressure of the fight, and even winning against this incredibly tough foe. Setup and Payoff is an excellent tool to not only keep the audience engaged, but also to re-examine what they have just seen. It allows us to look back and see that not only was Naru overcoming these obstacles in her journey, but she was also keeping mental stock to use each of them to her advantage later. And if that isn't badass as hell, then I just really don't know what is anymore. So go watch it. Regardless, the movie and the final fight in particular really stuck with me, so I wanted to talk about it briefly. I'll be back in an indeterminate amount of time with my Final Fantasy video, unless I get sidetracked with something else again. Either way, thanks for watching, you beautiful bastards. I wanted to add that the reception that my Moral Oral video has gotten so far is nothing short of incredible, and it's all thanks to you guys. It's currently, as I speak this sentence, sitting at about 110,000 views, which is a milestone that I never thought possible when I started this channel. I don't say it enough, but it really means the world to me that people like you guys watch these videos I make and even like some of them. That is still, 2 years later, absolutely wild to me. You guys are the best. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.